Here, do you want to take out the seeds and sprinkle some seeds?
Okay, then my shop.
Oh, yeah. Do you know what to do? These are the seeds at the top, so you just pick them off and you sprinkle them.
I think sticky.
Sticky?
Yeah. What flowers did you?
These are black-eyed Susan.
Why are they called black?
Because the eye of the flower, so the petals are yellow, but then the eye of the flower is black or brown. And then what we were scattering before is purple coneflower. I was scattering it here. Hey, welcome back everybody. It's Sunday, February 27th. Right now it is 39 degrees outside. So even though we still have some snow on the ground, it was nice enough to go ahead and come out in just one layer really. I've got some overalls on, that seems to help. And I just wanted to take a peek in my garden. It's still not quite waking up yet, but it was nice enough to just come out here and do some general cleanup. So the three tools I primarily used today include my pitchfork, my rake, and then my new pruners. I got these for Christmas and I was really careful because they're extremely sharp. Not to mention this snazzy little tool belt that I got for Christmas. Shout out Mom and Dad. Everything was from Gardener Supply. And so I was really excited to get out in the garden and use some of these things for the first time. So in addition to just being happy out in the sunshine, some of the things that I got to do was just kind of rake up my raised beds. I had placed the old tomato plants, the old, pepper plants, all my old dead foliage from last season just right on top to try to compost in place. It just wasn't breaking down like I hoped, so I just kind of raked that up, put it in the wheelbarrow, and then eventually it went over to our compost pile behind the chicken coop. That's not where our compost pile will be permanently. It's just kind of temporary, especially because it should not be up against a fence like that. And then I took a look at some of my perennials. Now is a good time to go ahead and cut some of those back, just to give them a fresh start for the spring when they do start to wake up. And so I cut back things like echinacea, purpurea, purple coneflower, some rudbeckia, which is black-eyed Susan. And then I noticed a lot of the seeds were still left over. I left a lot of the seed heads over winter because it provides food for foraging animals like birds. But since some of them were still left over, I went ahead and harvested those really easily. And then I just sprinkled them in the flower bed between my raised beds and the alley at the back of our property. And then speaking of that area, this was the main purpose of coming outside today, and that was to go ahead and sprinkle some poppy seeds. So I've never grown poppies before. I have 3 varieties, Poppy Iceland Nautical Blend, so that looks gorgeous, 12 to 24 inches tall. And then I also have some American Legion poppies, 12 to 14 inches tall, and then Poppy Orange, Poppy California Orange, 6 to 12 inches tall, and this is a native to California. So those are all beautiful, and if I'm understanding correctly, they should give me a nice long season of blooms. Maybe the orange will come first, and then the Nautical Blend, and then American Legion, something like that. So I should have a nice long season of poppy blooms. And it couldn't have been easier spreading those rudbeckia seeds, those echinacea seeds, these poppy seeds, because I just simulated it couldn't have been easier because I just simulated what nature already does. So for the coneflower, for example, right, it has that really prickly cone in the center of the flower. In fact, the prefix echin in echinacea means spine. So those were the seeds, that spiny cone, those are the seeds. I took those out and I just spread them because in nature they would just drop to the soil below and germinate that way. So I imitated what nature already does and just kind of sprinkled them out in the flower bed. Same thing with our poppies here. So after these beautiful blooms, they form pretty unique seed pods kind of in the center, and then eventually those seed pods open, seeds just scatter to the ground. So I was just kind of doing exactly what they were already intended to do, what nature has designed them to do. And the thing about poppy seeds is they do need a cold period. So it's late February. I could have even done this a month ago because poppy seeds need that cold stratification period that says to them, okay, it's winter time, it's winter time, it's winter time. And then as the weather starts to warm up, oh, it's springtime, time to start putting on some growth. So some plants require that. Other plants are not cold hardy, so you want to wait until your last frost to go ahead and put them in the ground. But poppies are just one that you can kind of get started early, which I'm excited to do. You know, I've got tons of seeds started inside already, but it was so nice to get out and enjoy the sunshine. This is probably my first time enjoying being outside in weeks, like since I built the cold frame. So why don't we go ahead and take a look around, including what I've got going in the cold frame. All right, here is an official before shot of the garden, still kind of asleep. Matt and I built these 2 raised beds. I added these grow bags. I've got random containers just for herbs and things. I lined it with perennials, and those were what I just had cleaned up today. There's our cold frame that we built a few videos ago. And I was just in here just cleaning out some dead growth. I cleaned up the strawberries, you know, I cleaned up the chives. I raked up all the dead plant matter on top of my raised beds just to kind of tidy up because, you know, come springtime, it's really going to kick up and things are going to get busy. So it's nice to get ahead of things. Here's our cold frame. We've had it for several weeks now, and I've got 4 different types of plants in here by now. So in the video where I showed you how we built the cold frame, that's when we sowed the arugula and spinach seeds. So that was several weeks ago. And then yesterday, I went in and sprinkled some lettuce seeds and then a broccoli plant. So my job right now is just to make sure that, first of all, this cover stays clear. So when we had snow, I got to sweep that off. And then also to make sure that the soil stays moist. I'm not concerned about the soil with no seeds in it. I only keep this part moist that has actual seeds in it. So Nora helped me out. She went ahead and watered that for me today. This is the raised bed that I had flowers in last season. This was my vegetable raised bed with our trellis. And this does not look like much right now. In fact, it looks pretty terrible because we're in late February. Our snow just melted. It's extremely muddy, but I would say in a couple of months here, this is just going to be absolutely stunning. So I sprinkled echinacea seeds, rudbeckia seeds, and then my poppy seeds. And then not to mention, last fall, I planted 100 allium bulbs. And those just put on the most beautiful blooms. So this is going to be crowded, but it's going to be amazing. And then just for the sake of documentation purposes, because I am documenting my garden journey this season, this is what our new flower bed, or what I'm calling the row crop garden, will look like. You can kind of see the edge here where Matt and I tilled in the fall. I'm just going to be planting rows and rows and rows and rows and rows of vegetables and flowers. This is over 900 square feet I just added to our planting spaces, our garden. And because it's winter time, the sun is a little bit lower in the sky. Normally the shadow line is a little bit closer to the fence, so that mostly will be full sun. The only thing I'll get to work around is when this tree leaves out. I will just have to make sure and study like what shadows it casts below it, because I won't want to plant full sun things within its shadow. You know, I wouldn't even mind taking off that branch because it's not all that productive anyways. So we'll just wait and see. There's our chicken coop. Our temporary compost pile is behind it. So I cannot wait to see this space totally transformed. Right now it's just a absolute mud pit. All right, so that's gonna be it for today, everybody. One final thought I had was, you know, even though I've never sprinkled poppy seeds before, or, you know, just randomly sprinkled echinacea and rudbeckia seeds, and really I have nothing to lose. I harvested those rudbeckia and echinacea seeds from my existing plants, and then each seed packet here was $2, $2 to $3. And so if anything, I'm going to be out $6 if something doesn't work. But I'm imagining it's going to be great. It's going to be beautiful. Oh, I just want to stay out here. It's so nice. But that's going to be it for today, everybody. Thank you so much for joining me for my garden cleanup day, one of many to come. And then also, I'm so excited to have scattered some seeds in that garden bed between my raised beds and the alley. Thanks so much for joining. See you in the next one.